Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode number 3 of my podcast. I still don't have a name for it, but that's okay. I don't need a name to talk about what's happening in NASCAR. Eventually, I'll come up with one. I just want it to be something clever, and I've been lacking in that department. I mean, I could ask ChatGPT, but that's not fun. I want to come up with the name myself, but there's only going to be one topic in this episode, and it's going to be what everybody's talking about. So I'm going to give my opinion on it, and it's the current lawsuit status between the teams of 2311 and Front Row Motorsports versus NASCAR. Things are heating up. Text messages are starting to come out, and it's incredible. So the recap, if you have been living under a rock, basically these two teams are suing NASCAR because they believe the charter agreement was unfair, and NASCAR is trying to become a monopoly. NASCAR, basically, their argument was, no, we're not a monopoly. We'll allow you to, do whatever you want. We're not forcing you to do this. This isn't the only source of racing. We're not trying to corner the market. But the text messages that came out amongst the heads of the sport, I mean, my God, Steve Phelps is a crooked bastard. It's incredible. So let's get right into it and talk about it. I don't want to make this episode long, maybe 20, 25 minutes. Give my opinion on it. I don't get a paycheck from NASCAR. I'm not Mama Smith, so what the hell do I care? What are they going to do, fine me? Yeah, right. Anyways, so the first text message that came out, and it was about the SRX series. So if you don't know what the SRX series was, it was a fun racing series that did local short tracks. I mean, they did Stafford Speedway, they did Nashville Fairgrounds, they did, I think, Slinger. They did a bunch of fun racetracks. They had a lot of popular drivers from NASCAR, past and present, as well as other motorsports. They had, I think, Haley Deegan did it, Paul Tracy, Helio Castroneves. So it was a big deal. It was TV. It was on TV. It was just something fun to watch. I remember watching it, in the summer, sitting around the fire and just getting drunk. I know a couple of my friends actually ended up going to Stafford Speedway. They loved it. And it kind of just stopped out of nowhere, and which is weird because I thought it was supposed to go globally to a track in a different country. So it was weird how it just kind of stopped on its own. But some of these text messages lead to me to believe that NASCAR was part of that process, and there's still more that'll come out before it goes to trial on December 1st. So I am excited to see if that is the reason why this series is done, is because of what NASCAR did. But let's look at the text messages. I have them up verbatim. I promise I won't lie. That's one thing about me. I try to always have the truth for you guys and be unbiased. But first text message here is, oh, great, another owner in SRX, referring to, I know Justin Marks was in it, Tony Stewart, of course, and then Denny Hamlin was in it. So that basically, oh, great, isn't like, oh, great, exclamation point. It's, oh, shit, another owner in SRX. Like, what are we doing? To which Steve O'Donnell said, this is NASCAR, pure and simple, enough. We need legal to take a shot at this, meaning they're legal to take a shot at what NASCAR is doing. So essentially their legal team is going to figure out any way to either get back at the drivers for running that series or, a shot at SRX as a whole, which is wild because, obviously Kyle Larson runs IndyCar and a couple of the drivers run dirt stuff, but they really saw SRX as a threat, which is crazy because, I didn't think it was as popular as it was. I mean, I knew it was fun and big, but not like this. Like, this is crazy that it pissed them off that much. And then Steve Phelps said, well, before I go any further, we need legal to take a shot at this. So NASCAR's argument was, for the lawsuit was, well, we're not a monopoly. You can go doing whatever you want to do. Well, right here, you're saying that your legal team is going to take a shot at either the drivers for participating or the series as a whole. So clearly, they're not allowed to go do what they want. One would think. That's strike one. Let's see if we can get to 3. I think we'll get to 5. I really do. We might get to 10 here. And then Steve Phelps said, these guys are just plain stupid. Funny, ironic. Need to put a knife in this trash series. Strike 2. I feel confident. I think we're going to get to our full 10. A knife in this trash series. So then they're trying to kill this series because they see it as a threat. Once again, they were saying, no, We're not this monopoly. You can go do what you want. They were going and doing what they wanted to do. They were going to race in the SRX in exhibition races, and you were saying that legal needs to shut this down and they need to put a knife in it. So right then and there, your argument is null. It's void. You're done in 2 text messages. It's over. I feel like that alone could win the case, which would be crazy. But I'm not. I watched my cousin Vinny a few times, so I think I have this whole legal field down, but I'm still not an expert in it. But anyways, those were the text messages, and then it continued on, which makes it very interesting with the next few text messages, guys. I mean, this is some fun stuff. So apparently it outrated an Xfinity and truck race one weekend, which I didn't know was that popular. Like, I knew it was popular, but I didn't think it was that popular. But the fact that it did that, okay, that they were like, oh shit, like this is threatening us. And they were basically saying like it was a bunch of like local short track stuff, but then they were saying it's not because it's outrating their supporting series. And funny enough, the truck and Xfinity is more exciting, honestly, more exciting racing than Cup. I mean, the next-gen car sucks. And if SRX was outrating those two, I wonder where it would have been at if it was still a thing now, which I think it's no longer a thing because of what NASCAR has done. And again, more text messages and stuff will get put out because it's going to trial on December 1st unless they settle. I don't think they're settling, and I think this is going to get nasty, and I think it's the best thing they needed because Steve Phelps and Steve O'Donnell and everybody else that's in charge of NASCAR, if they cared about NASCAR, there would still be Auto Club, there would still be 1,000 horsepower Cup cars, there would still be there would still be centered numbered doors. So these guys, look, they're in it for the money. They don't give a shit about what the fans want. They just want to make the most amount of money and corner the market. I mean, it's crazy what some of only these text messages say, but I really think a lot more are going to come out. And I'm all for it because, I mean, these guys, they can't even tell their friggin' belly button from their asshole. And by chance, if they're watching this video, Steve's, your belly button's in the front right here. Your asshole's back here. It's about on this chair where I'm sitting. So they're on opposite ends of your body. If you ever get confused, let me know. I can point it out. But they move on to talk about some more stuff. And then they talk about, well, wait till Dale Jr. says he is running an event. Matter of time, they'll go to North Wilkesboro with Junior if we're not careful. We need to be the first back. So we think back to the 2023 All-Star race, and it got announced in 2022. So there's not a date on these text messages, which I wish there was so we knew exactly. Maybe there is, but like from what I'm seeing, I don't see that. So like a lot of people were like, yay, NASCAR's going back to their grassroots because of the fans. No, they weren't. SRX was going to do it first. So they were like, ah, shit, we got to do it. So, again, not that the SRX series went under because of that move alone, but, like, there's hints here that they were trying to do whatever they could to stall SRX. So, again, if we're talking about them, again, we get back to that. NASCAR saying, no, you go do whatever you want. It's not true. We're not a monopoly. They were trying everything in their power to make sure SRX wasn't going to beat them. That is trying to be a monopoly. That is not a free market. Whatever, right? Whatever. So it continues on. Somebody else agreed. North Wilkesboro and Bowman Gray next year with Junior and friends if we don't make moves. Again, we have to make moves. We have to take it away from them. And that's what they did. North Wilkesboro got the All-Star race for 3 years. Now it's a cup or a points race. And Bowman Gray is now the Clash. Don't think that's the reason why the SRX went under, but I mean that is just some shady shit, if I will say so myself. And then somebody, I think Steve O'Donnell said, how about this? All-Star race, make it a combo of Bowman and North Wilkesboro Friday through Sunday. I don't know how the hell that would have worked with 2 tracks in a weekend. Seems like a logistical nightmare. But, they were going to try to do anything they could. And then there are a couple more, text messages about flipping it in 2024 and so on. Excuse me. And then they say we need to make moves. They just need to sell through. Should be a good working session Thursday. So like they were going to decide their plan of attack that Thursday whenever they kind of decided that they were like, we need to fuck over the SRX because we're a monopoly and, you know, we're a dictatorship. So they also said we need to convince the board that threats are real and we need to be bold. So threats. So it's a threat to your sport, so you're taking it away. So you're being a monopoly. I'm sorry, but again, I just don't see how they're winning this just with this 5 minutes worth of text right here. I mean, my God. And then Ben Kennedy liked the text message, which I don't mind Ben Kennedy. He's trying to change the schedule up, but you know, they're all shills. They're all corporate. They're all sleazeballs. I don't care. They suck. And Steve Phelps didn't want an issue of an LIV split if they don't play their cards right. So they basically said that I'll read the full thing. They said that's the key. We don't need to have everyone understand that this could turn into LIV if we don't play our cards right. They were trying to say we need to have everyone understand that this can turn into LIV. Basically, they're saying that this could turn into a split if we don't play our cards right. We are smarter than they are. But part of the issue is they don't have the facts and don't seem to want to take the time to learn, or maybe they just don't care. It's all about the money and feeling like they have been heard and are respected. The SRX thing is just baffling to me. Why don't they get it? Oh, they do get it, and it's just a huge FU to us. So basically, I believe that more so is looking at SRX. It's either looking at the board not caring about SRX. I don't think that's the truth. I think it's more so SRX and what all those drivers were doing, and they were like saying NASCAR. Steve Phelps is saying that the SRX participants are telling Steve Phelps F you. But that's rather interesting. So when we look at those text messages, again, we talk about the monopoly, and right then and there's so much proof that they were doing everything in their power to make sure that another racing series couldn't do something before them, and they were going to do everything in their power to make sure it didn't happen. I still think there is something that happened to that series that NASCAR was involved in that is going to come out still, and if there's not, I will be shocked. I will tell us, to say the least. But those weren't the only text messages. Text messages continued to get leaked, and they got leaked about one of the pioneers of our sport, Richard Childress. Phelps wrote that other executives were in the text chain, but he basically said Childress needs to be taken out back and flogged. Basically taken out back and shot. He's a stupid redneck who owes his entire fortune to NASCAR. Let me tell you something, Steve Phelps. You were probably falling in the jungle gym in grade school. I don't know how old he is. I could probably look it up, but I don't care. Because I don't care for him. I've hated him since he stepped in. They gave us the 550 package, which was terrible. They gave us the next gen that they rushed, which is terrible at every track except some mile and a halves. I don't give a shit about this guy. I really don't. But Phelps says that Childress owes his entire fortune to NASCAR. That's bullshit. Childress is a pioneer of this sport. If you're to say that about Childress, you're to say the same thing about Allison, about Petty, about all these other people who are drivers, then turned team owners. You got to remember, Richard Childress was a driver. He wasn't just a team owner that just got in because he was rich and saw an opportunity. You know what I mean? Like, he raced and grew up racing and then had a team and had one of the best drivers in NASCAR history, 7 championships, and grew the sport. Also, he called him a stupid redneck, which is nuts because, like, look, where Childress is from, there are a lot more drivers, past drivers, champions of the sport, owners, people who work in the sport or used to work in the sport, still work in the sport, fans of the sport who have the same background as Childress. So you're basically backhanding and saying that it's not just about Childress. I mean, no offense. You're saying that because there was an issue with Childress didn't want to sign the charter agreement at first, and So I'll read this and then I'll talk about that. So later in the chain, Phelps wrote, if he's that angry, and apparently he is, sign your charter extension and sell. He's not smart. He's a dinosaur, and malcontent, total ass clown. So he was making these comments because Childress didn't want to sign the charter agreement. Well, look, a lot of the teams didn't want to sign the charter agreement. Everybody said they gave them the charter agreement. It was like, sign it by midnight or you lose your charter. It was so quickly done that they tried to pull the rug on the teams. So you're basically saying that then about everybody, because the rest of the team signed the charter agreement, but they might not have wanted to. So for you to say this about Childress, you thought it about everybody. So that's a majority of the sport. That's all of NASCAR. You think that about everybody. That's my opinion on this. So, and who the hell are you? Seriously. This guy, I would love to see this asshole drive a car 75 mile an hour on Daytona without stoving it into the wall. I really don't think he could. I mean, just run NASCAR 25 on 105 difficulty and try to win a race. I guarantee you won't be able to do it. But he's in charge of the sport. He's the commissioner. They made a new position for him this year. Yeah. Commissioner of my ass. That's what it is. But Childress responded. They said they're deeply disappointed, and they were looking to look to take legal action. I don't know if there's anything there, but they also said that these comments reflect the way certain NASCAR executives have historically viewed and treated many team owners like Mr. Childress, who have devoted their lives to strengthening the sport for its fans, its sponsors, and all who compete in it. Look, we talk about Richard Childress, and we talk about having Dale Earnhardt, and then going through losing Dale Earnhardt, and then getting Kevin Harvick, and keeping that ship afloat. Childress wanted to quit after Earnhardt died, but he didn't. He kept it afloat. He kind of transitioned some Earnhardt fans into Harvick fans, and that's kind of slowed the progress of the sport dying. I'm not trying to say the sport died when Dale died, but definitely a lot of people were lost after that. And Childress still keeping that team open gave people hope and kept people in the sport longer. So you owe it to him. You weren't even in the sport. I think he was working for the NFL at the time. I would love to see what the hell he did with the NFL. I mean, I don't know, but I know Phelps worked for the NFL. But just to say that about a pioneer of the sport is just, it's incredible, especially being the leader of the sport. I mean, they definitely never thought that this would happen, where this stuff would get released. I'm surprised there hasn't been a press release from him apologizing. That's another thing that's crazy, that they haven't apologized yet for any of this, but maybe they will once the trial's over. But I mean, it's sad to see this is how the leaders of our sport think about the owners, the drivers, and honestly, I really think there's stuff that's gonna come out about the fans. I really do, and it's gonna be bad. I think it's gonna be brutal. I mean, people are gonna get upset. I'll be upset, but I don't give a fuck. What the hell do I care what these people think about me? Look, I'm the reason why you're still in business. We're the reason why you're still in business. We put ass in the seats at these racetracks. Even though the racing at certain tracks is terrible, we still show up because we love NASCAR. We love racing. We don't love you. I don't give a shit about you. But I digress. I think it's crazy. Switch the subject away from the text messages. I think it's rather crazy that media members, I mean, the number one shill to NASCAR, the number one bootlicker, Mamba Smith, has been MIA since this stuff came out. He don't know what the hell to do. I mean, his brain ain't programmed for this. By the way, me and him have to debate in Daytona. I'm letting everybody listening to this know. He replied to me on Twitter and said that he would debate me in Daytona. I guarantee he doesn't fall through with it because he ain't ready for what I have. Look, I got facts, I got data. I don't have the chief hype officer going to tell me what's wrong when the ratings are down, the seats are being destroyed, and we still can't fill them. We're losing sponsors and money, and the teams are losing money, and now we have this shit happening. Look, I'll debate you all day long. I'll run up and down. I'll run laps around you. And I'm just me. I mean, I'm just a humble. I mean, I don't sound humble now, but I don't come from much. You know, I've worked myself up with what I have with my following. I didn't have, everything handed to me like, some of these people in the industry. And that's the thing. They don't realize, like, when they get the paycheck from NASCAR, they'll say anything they want, which is why I'm surprised he hasn't said anything yet, because I would have swear to God he would have definitely been defending Phelps and O'Donnell and all them, but he's stayed out of it. I think he's posting just inspirational TikToks and reels on his Twitter lately. He's like, oh, it's a great day to be alive, It's like, nah, dude, there's something up. We'll still accept you if you are transparent and honest. Him and Larry Mack lately, and Dave Moody and Pete Pistone. My God, Pete Pistone blocked me on Twitter because I'll tell you, this is a funny story. Pete Pistone blocked me on Twitter because somebody tweeted something about Auto Club, and I replied a video of me at the final Auto Club race, and I made it was a video of a flyby, and I said, man, never forget what they took from us. This was my first time there. It was awesome, or whatever. And Pistone replied like, never forget what they took from us. And he said, it's funny, nobody cared for it before it was gone. And I literally said, I was like, who the fuck are you? Like, I'm just posting a video about nostalgia for a track that I thought was awesome. And he blocked me, but yeah, whatever. So him, Larry Mack, Daniel Trotta, all them. I don't know if any of them have said. I'm surprised Larry Mack. I should check and see if Larry Mack has said anything. I'll look and see, and I'll talk about it in my next episode. But Larry Mack was the goddamn crew chief of Earnhardt under Richard Childress. What does he have to think about Steve Phelps calling him a redneck? That's crazy. Larry Mack is a bootlicker right now, which is crazy because he was so respected. But they got to talk about what's currently happening, or what's currently great for the sport. And what's currently great for the sport is all this shit that's turning it upside down and inside out. But Mama Smith's dormant. All those guys, I think, are dormant. They don't know what to say. But who isn't dormant and who is talking again is Jeremy Mayfield. Who had that on their bingo card? And Mayfield, I cannot wait until he posts a video or goes in depth or makes a podcast. I love Jeremy Mayfield because I am one to believe that he was set up and was railroaded by NASCAR. You talk about him being a drug addict. I don't know how true that is. He went on the Dale Jr. Download and talked about what had happened, how they raided him looking for scrap metal, found the guns and stuff. I mean, I don't know if they were legally owned or what, but that's not necessarily what they were looking for. And they also said that they found meth in the safe. And I should look this up. So I'm going to go on record and say I'm saying this, but I don't know if it's true or not. But this is for you to look up on your own because, like I said, I'm going to be unbiased and truthful. I don't have all the facts, so you look this up as a viewer. The cop that was involved in finding the meth in his safe was convicted of planting evidence at other crime scenes. So again, I think he was railroaded because Jeremy Mayfield was one who he had said a tweet where he wasn't the golden boy, and he stood up for what was right, and that was kind of what NASCAR kind of railroaded him. So it's great to see him talking on media again. He was a good driver, very talented, but unfortunately the stuff that had happened to him cut his career short. But I'm excited to see what he has to say about all this because, look, guys, this is a big turning point for our sport. It's been downhill. This is the most exciting thing that's ever happened. I mean, I can't wait. I can't wait. And I want to hear in the comments whose side you're on because, look, I can't imagine people are on NASCAR's side. People can be on NASCAR's side because they're scared they don't want to lose NASCAR. We're not going to lose NASCAR. We're not going to lose racing. There's too many drivers. Honestly, it would be better for NASCAR to go away and a different racing series start. I know it would be tough at first, but I feel like the cars would be better. We'd have more personality with drivers. We wouldn't have rich kids getting in and, their daddy owns, Haas Racing or, like Cole Custer having a cup ride is incredible. And all these rich kids that their fathers are in business and they just let them race and they finish 25th every weekend. And it's like, oh, why don't we get some real talent? I remember back in the day, Jeff Gordon at Chicagoland. Man, he ran on speed. He ran in the 40s. And he had a horrible day. Late 30s, fifth or worst, he ran all day. My God, there were so many races where you had drivers that might hit it right and were competitive, and they were drivers that you wouldn't, they came from nothing, or they worked their way up through the series like they should be. They didn't have a crazy sponsor like, Dex Imaging that, kept them in the Cup Series, or, Haas, for example. I mean, it's crazy, but, or, their grandfather being a team owner. Yeah, so we'll see what happens, but people that are siding with NASCAR because they're afraid they're going to lose it, don't be the reason why you side with NASCAR, because you're siding with Steve Phelps and Steve O'Donnell, and they have done nothing to help you. They have done nothing to help you. Ticket prices are more expensive. There's less tickets. There's less seats. There's less action on track. There's less horsepower. There's less sponsors. There's less of everything. They're going to tracks that we don't need them to go to. Don't be afraid that we'll lose the sport, that you side with NASCAR. It doesn't matter because it comes down to a judge, but what the teams are doing is important. We need the transparency. We need to know what's going on. Hendrick's been losing money, the powerhouse of the industry for the last however many years, and they're losing money every year, so something's wrong. Something's wrong, and Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan and Front Row Motorsports are trying to figure it out, because hopefully, I don't think we'll ever get back to what the sport was, but maybe we could turn this train around, and who knows, maybe we get a new commissioner in there. Mark Martin, Dale Jr., somebody. We need drivers. We need drivers. And even if they weren't talented or weren't like crazy good and had a lot of wins, I mean, you know what driver I would love to hear their opinion on with all this? Jimmy Spencer. Mr. Excitement would have so much to say about what's currently going on, but I remember he was on a couple podcasts and he talked about like what was wrong with the sport media-wise and all that, and it's just crazy. I mean, look, we got the media trying to push, what NASCAR's telling them to push because they have that paycheck written out, NASCAR Incorporated or whatever it would be. So they're gonna keep talking about whatever, even if it's not the best thing, but. It is what it is. I feel like I'm losing my voice a little bit. I'm talking so much, but that's all I really wanted to talk about. So let me know down in the comments what your opinions are of this whole deal. If you agree or disagree. If you agree with Phelps and O'Donnell, please let me know, because I can't imagine anybody would, but I listen to everybody's opinions. I try to be respectful. I don't try to be like Mamba Smith and say the playoffs are the greatest thing, and if you tell him that the points are, he'll call you a dumbass and call you a idiot or something. But yeah, let me know down below. I will be uploading this. It'll be the day before Thanksgiving. So look, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I hope everybody has a safe holiday. Look forward to doing more of these podcast episodes. I think I'm going to get some guests on in the next one. We'll kind of talk more about some other stuff that I think can improve in the sport. But what the hell do I know? I'm just a 26-year-old who just posts videos, What do I know? But thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.